Alright, welcome to my page. In this video I'm going to show you how I build end table frames with the X design in them. Right here, these boards have been already cut to size. They've been planed, they've been jointed, sanded, and now I'm fixing to build the frame for you. These are the cross pieces. This is the bottom piece of the frame that's going to go on this side. These are going on both sides, either side of the coffee table. The open part will be the front and back of the coffee table. Not coffee table, I'm sorry, end table. End table. I'm messing up. Here, you gotta get these little stickers off these things. Sometimes they're glued on there, and sometimes they're stapled in there. So I'm gonna get my little needle nose pliers here, and I'm gonna pull them loose. Pull the staple out of these things, and then now we're back to put the frame together. I'll pocket hole these in there once I get them in, and I'll just measure now for where the X is gonna go. Right in the opening there. So I'm getting them lined up here, and in just a second I'll get my Jorgensen clamps, hold them together before I start screwing them in. But right now these I'm getting ready to space the bottom. I got to get me a spacer block to go in so I make it sure it's the same on both sides, and both ends of the end table will match. And the pocket hole screws will go in right in the corners there, because I turn this thing sideways with the uneven part sticking out. That way I can pocket hole to the frame. So here I'm going to drill the pocket holes. I like using these pocket holes because they're pretty sturdy. Some people use screws to go on the sides, but this keeps it hidden. So you can see how I got them on the edge of the board, because the part of the frame of the 2x4s are laying flat. These pieces here are going to lay with the end sticking out a little bit. So that's the reason why I'm putting the holes on one side of the board, right in there. So it can be on the sides instead of in the middle, because they're going to attach the way that one is sitting just below the bottom there. Both of them will be like that. All right, and here I'm getting my little spacer block and just a piece of scrap wood, so I can measure, so I can make sure that both sides are gonna be the same. This is my way of measuring stuff, I guess. Instead of using the measuring tape, I just use a block of wood, because the block of wood is not going to change sizes when you move it from side to side. So here we get the Jorgensen clamp. I'm going to clamp this thing down. Tighten it. I don't over tighten it, because if you tighten it too much, the frame will bend, sort of twist a little bit. So I'm just gonna get it lined up here. It's just tight enough to hold the cross piece in place while I get ready to drill it in with the pocket screws. All right, we got it about lined up now. Check the distance. Always check twice. Tighten it up just a little bit more to keep it from moving around. Then we'll get some pocket screws out. These are Kreg jig pocket screws. They're 1 1/4 inch long. Some people use 2 inches. Sometimes I use 2 inches, but these work just fine for the way the whole depth is set on the wood there. These things work pretty good. So we're gonna put some of these in. Screw both sides of it, and then we'll do this bottom piece and the top piece of the frame, both the same way. Sometimes I have to ease it in and make sure I don't bust the corners of the board. There we go. Get it on in there. All right, get that lined up to the other side as well. All right, after I did that, I decided to take them loose and realized I had to turn the board the other way. So because this is the bottom of the coffee table, end table, not coffee table. This is the bottom of the end table. That's going to hold the support of the board. The bottom board's going to attach to this thing. So I had to turn it the other way, and which explains my whole reasoning for drilling the pocket holes in the side, in the part of the board that I drilled them in, because this is the way it's supposed to be to start with. I had a senior moment there and put it the wrong way, so had to unscrew it and take the piece loose, and now I'm putting it back in again. So There you go. There's the reason for the pocket hole screws being on the sides of the board, because they're going into the narrow part of the 2x4. So what I'm doing here is going to tighten it up some. You can see it draw together right there, and it makes a tight bond. I'll do that on both sides. And like I said, this is the bottom of the end table that the bottom piece will attach to. The part just facing me on my side of the board is going to be the inside part of the coffee end table. I build my coffee tables the same way, but so I keep referred to as a coffee table. But got them all in now. So what I do now is I test it just a little bit, make sure it's not loose and it's good and tight. So stand it up, and this will be looking down from the top of the end table to the bottom, and get this thing a little straight here. This is going to the top piece is going to go at the top, and I knocked it over, but I'm going to have to lay it over anyway. So I'm going to lay it down here, and I'm going to put the top piece in, and it will go from side to side like that, instead of the way the bottom piece is, because this is going to be the top part that of course holds the top. So really I didn't need to screw the Kreg screw holes that on just on one side of the board, but it really don't matter. They're going to go in anyway and hold it together on this top piece. It would just be the bottom pieces that I had to go from the edge of the board there on where I'm drilling the holes. Alright, now I get my square out. I'm going to make sure this thing is square before I actually put the screws in the holes, and make sure it's not any kind of twisted or warped way. So we're going to turn this square around. It looks like it's all square, so I'm going to pop the screws in now. Get this thing secure. I like these pocket screws. Alright, take the clamp loose now. And there's the frame without the X. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first stand it up to make sure it's all good and straight across and not twisted. Okay, we're going to the table saw now. These are going to be the X pieces. This is not my favorite tool. I do not like the table saw, but I'm going to cut these into 2x2s. A lot of them are 2x2s. So right here I'm going to rip the edges off, take the roundness off of them so they'll be square all the way around, instead of having one side square and one side rounded. So we're going to cut these pieces all down. I'll do it to every one of the 2x2s, and you see a 2x3 laying beside me right there. Also, I'm going to rip that one down to a 2x2 as part of the other part of the cross as well. And I'd rip all these down right here, and then I'll have my pieces ready. All right, back to the board, back to the work table. Got my pieces ready. I'm gonna show you how to insert them and mark them. This takes some of the math out of it. When I first started doing this, I tried to measure and do this, and totally screwed it up. So I found out this is the easiest way to do it, to mark it, lay it in place and mark it where I'm going to cut the angles at. Take this over to the miter saw, cut on the lines there. It's not quite a 45-degree angle, but that's one reason why you draw the lines, so you'll know where to drop the blade at. Alright, got it cut now. I'm going to put it in place. This is the long piece. Going to put it in the spot right there. And what I'll do next is at the bottom there, I'm going to drill a 2-inch screw in. That's going to go, well, this is actually this is the second board that's actually going to go across that way, but I need to secure the long piece first. So I'm going to do a pilot hole here, and then I'm going to drop that 2-inch screw in it just to hold it in place, so it won't move around. Now the top of the X mark there, I can't put a screw in because you see the board is turned the other way. So what I do there is I just get my brad nailer out, and I get a 2-inch brad nail, and I pop it on the sides right there to attach the top. These things are just for looks. They're not for the main structure. Of course, you don't carry the table by these X's or anything, because they will jerk loose. But I'm gonna put the second one in there now, and this one's gonna have 4 marks on it. The top, bottom, and then the mark where the middle piece is at. So I'm getting it lined up here. Once again, this takes the measuring out of it, makes it a little bit easier in my opinion. So I'm going to mark these corners here, and I'm going to mark the middle where I'm gonna make the cuts out on these. All right, and I won't show me installing this part, but I'll basically cut it on those marks right there, and it'll be in two pieces, and they'll piece together to make the eggs. And this is the finished product right here. After, of course, it's been painted, the bottom's been built, and all that good stuff. But there's the X's. There's the top portion. There's the bottom portion. Got a solid bottom right here, is like the customer wanted. And then, of course, there's the 2x4s, or 2x2s, 2x3s it's attached to. Over here is the top. I got it all made out, and I've got it ripped down. These are actually 4 2x8 boards, and I've got them ripped down to make it the right measurements. I'm going to stain it now. I'll pre-stain it and then stain it. It's been sanded, but I'll sand it again before I do all that. I got to cut some ridges out of it, but I'll do it with a joiner right there to piece them together so it takes the crack out of it, and then I'll run them through the planer to get them good and smooth and make sure they're all the right depth board, not different sizes.